So I'm Dave Shipper, and I'm with Jane Ross Fallon. She is our eighth singer-songwriter finalist for the 2020 songwriting contest, and it's been a blast. It really has been such a journey. You have submitted three wonderful songs. How are you doing during the pandemic?
I'm fine. I'm very blessed because first of all, I don't worry about money. I'm okay there. I
Okay.
don't get my living going out doing like shows and stuff. I know I really appreciate the hardships of my touring musician friends, but I don't have to do that. And I'm very creative. I really find a lot of creative outlets for my time. And that's just a blessing. So I think if you have that ability, that gets you to anything.
That is wonderful. And yes, I know. I feel for the same thing with the touring people. They're the ones that are struggling the most to try to find a replacement
Yeah.
for that cash. Well, you craft wonderful songs. Walk us through your process.
Well, I've been writing forever, like since I was 13 years old. And it starts, of course, with any kind of topic. It doesn't even have to be an inspiration. You have to have a topic of something you want to write about. And I actually wrote a book called Beyond Reason, Songwriting on Purpose, because I can write a song on purpose. It doesn't have to come from my emotions or
Yeah.
something in my heart. I craft them. Some of the, I also was a writing teacher at the university, so I know how to do in a logical, theoretical way. So I start with my thesis, and then basically I write with my mouth. I'm a singer. I write by getting a hook and just going over that hook until something connects with it. Usually get a chorus, then break up my ideas. I get one idea. Often I will then say, okay, let's sit down and write the other ones, but often it's very traditional verse, chorus, bridge, coda. I deal with the basic methods. And then it's editing. After you get done with all this stuff, write more than you want, you've got to go in and you've got to be hard on yourself. And you have to start just cutting things out that don't belong. So it's a fairly traditional process, but I think unlike some guitar-oriented people, I write with my mouth. Sing, and I sing my songs. I hear my lyrics, I know what's supposed to come next, and that's how I get things going.
You can always put the chords in later, right?
You can.
Yes, you can. Well,
Yeah,
it is interesting. Have you ever had any of your songs after you've written them covered by somebody? Do you try to promote the
I
material?
haven't promoted a lot outside of just my normal area. I have had some local people cover some songs of mine that they hear at the open mics and they'll want to cover. The whole Nashville thing and getting it's a huge deal. And of course, very competitive. And it also means you have to write usually a certain style, finding that happy medium between art and something that sells. But I've had people cover my songs locally for weddings, whatever. Can I use that one? Or I want to sing this one at the open mic. Can I do that kind of thing? So I don't strive. It's always a treat when someone takes a song, not you, and says like to sing. Shows that the song goes beyond as a prefer and has of its own.
Yep. Well, there's nothing better of a compliment to a songwriter than to be covered. Somebody wants to sing your song. So
Yes, and you get great responses. I did one song was in the American Songwriting Magazine, the lyrics only winner, and I did get a contact from several people outside of my area who are, because they thought basically it was lyrics only, which I never write lyrics only, but they want to put music to it, or would I co-write? I did a co-write with someone from Nashville via that magazine, and that was fun.
Well, that was fun. Yeah. So the inspiration, is it something that you take a book and you're very studious about? It sounds like you look at the process. You try to find something and then write a song on it. So inspiration to me sounds like it's not. It's more mechanical for you, but there's got to be other.
Oh yeah, it's both. Yeah. I don't think any good song doesn't have some emotion in it. Now, granted, I I was raised on several different types of music, but I always really thought highly of the American songbook writers. Now they wrote on purpose for no reason. They sat in their room and said, we have to have a song for Act 3, right? You know,
Yeah.
Jerome Kern and, you know, Cole Porter, you know, and I admire that very much so. And those were well-crafted songs. I think in the folk realm and the popular realm, you're dealing a lot with emotion for most people. But I do both. So I do, sometimes something will hit me because I am emotional about something's bothering something, I make a message song. Then sometimes I write a song often, and I know the things you were thinking of talking about was contests, song prompts or reasons to write a song. Then I will get on my researcher's hat, and then I will go in and I will find information. And that's a wonderful way to get substance. You know, you've got to know what you're writing about. So lots of research, and I make lots of notes, and I see what's going to, but then emotion kicks in too. I wrote one song for a festival, and I was just looking for, so I'm story pot me, Rosewood, Florida. I had never been there. I did not know of it. And it's just, wow, this has not been made into a song. It was the second worst disaster, black incident in our country after Civil War. A town was burnt down. Totally, a black town was totally obliterated. And it was because a white woman told a lie, and everybody got the vigilante hat on. It sounds cliche, but that's what happened. Yeah. So I'm writing this, and I think, wow, it just hit me. I looked at the Wikipedia thinking, all right, and I put myself in of the woman, because as a white person, I thought, I don't feel I can be preachy or I can be the black community. I had to be that. I put myself in, and when at one contest, Margaret Longhead, the guru, she's passed away now. I got the phone call, Jane, this Jane Fallon, in her Southern accent. Well, you're the winner in our contest. And just the whole reception to that song was so inspirational, because here I am, a Yankee, coming down to Florida, writing the history of that area. But it was time to do that. You know, it was probably too close at a different time. And it got such a great reception. And it's still a song that if I want to tell a story of our Black history and some of the injustice, I pull that song out. It never ceases to stop the audience.
Wow. Well, the song that we picked finally from your submissions was "If It Mattered." That was a wonderful song. Was that
Thank you.
Was that a fairly recent song?
That goes back actually to my 2006 City Girl album, actually. Oh. And I do know that it gets a response, though, and I know that it's well crafted in a way that's different from some of the others. And one of the reasons is because the only reason I wrote that song was the word matter. I was thinking, what a funny word, right? Yeah. Matter is a thing. Matter is a feeling.
I did notice that there was some double entendres or what. There was a couple of but you did it so well.
It's kind of song. And and I had kind of forgotten about it. Wasn't playing it out that much. And then I went to Hawaii, the Hawaii Songwriting Festival in Kauai. And there's a fellow there named Jason Bloom, who's a Nashville guru kind of guy. And he was doing a song circle. And we're supposed to give him lyrics. I said, I'm not going to give him something, you know, that's brand new. I got to give him something I think is good right away already. And he looked at that lyric and he said, holy crap, there are 3 lines in here I wish I would have written. So I thought, if Jason liked it that much, it must stand out. And so I started bringing it back out again.
Yeah. Well, we loved it. We loved it.
Oh, good. Thank you.
And you mentioned you've won many contests. So yeah, you must get a thrill out of that, or you know, there's got to be something to why you enter so many contests. And
it's one way from it's. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
How do you feel?
Yeah, more to the question. Yeah. How do I feel about it? I just feel gratified. I feel gratified they're there. I feel blessed that I can do it. In fact, most of the people don't notice sometimes most of the contests I win are those where you go to perform at. My purpose is to get my music out there. I don't want to just get John Lennon or USA or American song where they give you a little badge and you go on. I mean, it's nice to put on your resume, but I want to get a song that I go perform in front of people, and I can afford to do that. And usually I build a small tour around or something. Okay, I'm going to such and such a place. And then you get back to my ability to write song on purpose. Many of these songs, like maybe 5 or 6, had a theme. I had to write the song on a theme. And that, like Rosewood, like the Florida song. And that gives you a little edge to other people who can't do that. And it's also just a kick to get into the research. I learned so much about some new topic. I did one for the Clancy Brothers Festival in Ireland, and they wanted the 10th anniversary song. So I started looking, I found the story about Carragher that happened in 1999, never been written about before, and they asked me to come play it, and it was just a kick to go do that and to tell people their history. One woman came up to me, she says, "Oh, I better go check that out." I said, "There's a sign by the river, you can go read about it there." Like people forget their own history, they really do. So it's funny. Robbie O'Connell was the judge. Robbie O'Connell was the judge, and I got to go hang around. So, and I've been all over the country doing stuff like that. So because I'm not a touring professional, but I still want to get my music out there, that's one way for me to do it.
Well, I went and I had stopped at your website early in the game, and I saw the top part where you won contests. Well, when I went to write about you winning, I all of a sudden noticed the Great River Folk Fest was on there, and I said, "Really?" So I had to go back, and sure enough, Bob had you listed in 2015 as a second place person.
Your 5 years.
To myself, I don't remember that. I was a fest chair at that time, and it was our second year at the Great River.
Really? Well, you have so many people come and go, Dave. Yeah. How can you remember everybody? I mean, they come and they go. Lots of people come through. I loved that. I loved going to La Crosse. I had not been to Wisconsin. And I had a cousin who was up the road a bit, and I forget the name of her town now. So I got to visit her and met some people there that friended me on Facebook. We still stay in touch. And I love walking around La Crosse. And what's so interesting is a couple of years after that, I wrote a song about white sand mining. And it won the Woody Guthrie competition. But at the time, I didn't know I was in the heart of white sand mining territory when I was in La Crosse. So that was great. I look back now and say, wow, it gave me a better insight into the rural character when I wrote the song. And I just thought it was a great festival, very, very comfortable, very inviting. And I learned a lot from it.
Well, that is wonderful. And maybe we'll get you back 2021.
Now, maybe. I'm just happy to be this far. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, even if the contest winners, there's 12 finalists. I've said before that the 12 finalists could make a fantastic concert, festival.
Oh, yeah.
Sure. You're getting such a good thing. Well, I guess I have one more question about songwriting.
Okay.
Consider yourself, who do you consider influences?
Boy.
And before we go, you have to send me the link to your book if it's available.
Okay, I will.
Because I do want to add that and say, no wonder she won. She wrote a book about it.
Well, it's the other way around because I could write a book, right? It starts with the knowledge. Like I said, it started when I was really young. And I think my biggest influence is simply coming from a musical family. I mean, both sides were singers. I grew up in a country family where you sang on the porch and everybody picked up an instrument, everybody sang. We all sang 4-part harmony in the church, Baptist church. So I learned early to have an ear, and I had wonderful singers. So as I grew older and became literate, I loved to read. And when you start to love to read and you combine words with, it comes naturally. Yeah. And I had my Baptist background, which was those wonderful old hymns, which still have some of the best melodies ever. And then my mother was into cowboy tunes, and she also loved the jazz standards. So I started singing Cole Porter, and Rogers and Hart and all those people, Johnny Mercer. I loved the lyrics. And as I started to write in school, just for friends and things, I think my earliest song goes back to when I was about 13. Most of them I was 16 and to 21. I have a bunch from that era, just because it started to become the natural thing for me to do.
Hmm.
Like I write with my mouth. I'd get out, I'd be on my horse, or I'd be out walking around the pond. And jingles and anything that came to my head. But I also then, of course, got into the folk world and loved Joni Mitchell and James Taylor and Gordon Lightfoot and all those people too, and started to gear that direction as I got into college. And I think it's a combination of all those things influenced me. I think I feel like I hope I'm influenced all the time. I hope I'm always gaining new, angles and new ways to go about things.
Well, you're living in Connecticut, right?
No, I'm New Hampshire right now,
Oh,
and
okay.
also Florida. We were in
Oh,
New Hampshire for 25 years and then moved to Florida in October, and on the coast, the West Coast, very nice, quiet area.
sure.
We left just before the big surge. We'll see what it's like when we go back. But it was a lovely town right on the bay. And we have a son and a daughter and a new grandchild down there.
Oh,
So we're back here right now visiting family. I'm in the basement of an Airbnb right now. But I think of this as home as well, New Hampshire, and I grew up in California. So I've been around.
all right. Well, you've been a lot of fun to talk to, Jane. It's been fun to catch up with you. Do you have any questions for us?
Well, you too, Dave, and I really appreciate you doing this. Just thank you so much for this. This is a very unusual thing, I think, for a song contest to do, but you have a pedigree, you have a real interest in the song, which is not always the case, and that's why you do this. Sometimes you wonder, why do certain places have a songwriting contest? Is it just to get more people to come to the festival? Is it to make money or whatever? There's a real interest in the song here, and I felt that in 2015 when I went, and I was very honored to have been picked to do that. So just thank you very much, and countries.
All right. Well, it's been a lot of fun, Jane. I think I might have to put my glasses back on and figure out which button to stop recording.
Yeah, it's frozen.